Well, it is time for the Super Bowl and my Super Bowl prediction this coming next Sunday, not this Sunday. I'm going to give my official prediction and then we are going to take a look at some prop bets because there are always a lot of them on Super Bowl Sunday. But you can see 6:30, the traditional start time. San Francisco coming into this game -1.5. Some interesting line movement. We saw them open -3 and it immediately got bet down. A lot of people thinking Kansas City based on the Taylor Swift narrative, based on the Travis Kelce, Mahomes playing well. How about the Chiefs defense and how impressive they've been? You do have San Francisco coming into this game. Brock Purdy, kind of thought of as a game manager, but the comeback win against the Detroit Lions, very impressive. Kind of had some help there with that Brandon Ayuk catch, kind of some luck, but I do like Brock Purdy. I think he gets too much hate. He's a solid quarterback. It's one of those situations where nobody thought Brock Purdy would even start. I mean, he was the last pick of the entire draft, and he ends up playing pretty well. It's kind of hard to know where to value him exactly because he is playing on a loaded team, but I think people have kind of taken the hate a little bit too far. San Francisco, when you look at these two teams, San Francisco is just better. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win. This is just a one-game sample, but they've got better overall talent on offense and defense. You could say Mahomes is better than Purdy, but looking at the rosters as a whole, the 49ers, I don't think they've necessarily played amazing in the playoffs. Going down to Detroit, the game against Green Bay, they were in trailing positions. This is kind of a different situation. Kyle Shanahan, his second Super Bowl. We saw the one back in 2019, Mahomes, or I guess it was early 2020. That was like the last Super Bowl before the pandemic. It was literally February 2020. Mahomes against Jimmy G. Will the 49ers get revenge? Will Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce be dethroned? I'm not a fan, honestly, of the Chiefs and the whole charade. I know everyone says that, but it's just, I mean, Mahomes whined all year. I've never seen a quarterback complain more than Mahomes did, like in the middle of the season. It was like 4 straight weeks, nothing but complaining. I remember back like week 9 or week 10 when it came out that Travis Kelce was dating Taylor Swift. I said, oh, now they're definitely going to make the Super Bowl. Imagine, because the amount of views they would get. I mean, they're already going to, the Super Bowl already gets great ratings, but it's just a perfect situation for the NFL. I'm sure it's going to set records with her being there. And you do have Kansas City sitting +1.5. In this game, I do think, listen, San Francisco is overdue. I think they win this Super Bowl. It's going to be a close game. I think it's kind of higher scoring, especially with the way Kansas City has been playing recently. Another thing to watch with Mahomes. Listen, Mahomes is a great quarterback, but let's not sit here and act like Mahomes had this all-world game against Baltimore. I mean, the dude was averaging like 4 yards per attempt. Now, I know Baltimore has a good defense, but I'm just saying with Kansas City, there's a lack of explosive playmakers. And I mean, Travis Kelce's really not explosive. He's a good, sure-handed tight end. But I will take San Francisco to win the Super Bowl 26-23. And here are the Super Bowl prop bets. You do have the coin toss, of course. It's always a 50-50 proposition, but let's be real. We always know heads slightly gets chosen more than tails. So I would say heads. And another thing to look at with the Super Bowl, apparently tails has won more times recently, so heads is overdue. I think it's going to be heads there. Moving on to anytime touchdown scores. I think the first touchdown of the game is going to be George Kittle +1,000, just kind of a random pick. Looking at anytime, dude, betting is just such a ripoff. Like, anytime touchdown score, Isaiah Pacheco -120. It's just horrible value. Rice is +140. There's just no good value anywhere. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the backup running back. Yeah, I would just go with George Kittle +1,000 to be the first touchdown scorer. Passing yards, Brock Purdy 247, Mahomes 258. I would say both of them go over. Both go over those numbers. And then they do have, what is this, receiving yards? Travis Kelce's got to be over 70.5. Yeah, I'd say Travis Kelce over 70.5. George Kittle over 48. Deebo Samuel at 50. That could go either way. Valdez-Scantling at 17. I mean, he might get a big catch. I'd say under Juwan Jennings, 17.5. Sorry for picking on him, but I'd go under there. Christian McCaffrey, 35.5 receiving yards out of the backfield. I would probably pass on that bet. Rushing yards, you can see McCaffrey 88.5. I'd probably go over. Brock Purdy, I'd definitely go over. I mean, Brock Purdy can run a little bit. 12.5. Mahomes, 28.5. I'd go under. Pacheco, 68.5. I'd go under on that as well. Who will the Super Bowl MVP mention first? I don't know, just horrible value here. Plus 125. It's probably going to be teammates, but it's only plus 125. I'm sure there's a maximum bet on these things of like plus or like $100 or something. Maybe like $1,000 for the max bet. And then this Taylor Swift shown during the national anthem. Are you kidding me? Of course they're going to show her. Minus 120 there. Number of times Taylor Swift shown during national anthem. Under. They'll show her once and that's it. Because you know the narrative with Taylor Swift. They don't want to obsess over it. They'll put it on her once during the anthem. They'll show Kelsey. And that'll be it. Going to the public betting, you can see slightly more money coming in on Kansas City. That really doesn't surprise me considering they were plus 3, now they're plus 1.5. A lot of money coming in on them in terms of the money line, and then slightly more money coming in on the under. A lot of sharp money coming in on the under, it looks like, because the public likes the over plus 61, but if you look at the real cash, the under at around 70%, that would be 47.5. A lot of these playoff over-unders have been in the mid to upper 40s, and the 49ers Lions over-under last week was actually pretty high and it went over. And then when it comes to the MVP of the Super Bowl, well, I think it sets up perfectly right for Travis Kelce to win. No, I'm just kidding. I'm guessing if the Chiefs win, listen, it's got to be Mahomes, unless there's something that happens to where the Chiefs only score like 20 points and Mahomes has like 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Travis Kelce has like 160 yards and a touchdown. They might give it to Kelce. I really can't see anyone else on the Chiefs. Maybe Pacheco if he has like 2 goal line touchdowns and it's a low scoring game. But if the Chiefs win, I'm sure it's going to Mahomes. With the 49ers, it's a little bit more complicated. I'm guessing if they win, it'll probably be McCaffrey. Obviously, you also have Purdy in the mix. When it comes to Super Bowl MVPs, the quarterbacks are always going to be the first option, but McCaffrey is dual threat ability, maybe have like 50 receiving yards, 100 rushing yards, 2 total touchdowns. Purdy playing complementary. I could see McCaffrey being it. So I think if the Chiefs win, they'd give it to Mahomes with Kelce being the second option. And if the 49ers win, I would imagine it would be McCaffrey with Purdy being the second option. I don't see Deebo Samuel getting it. I don't see Ayuk getting it. I don't see George Kittle getting it. They spread around targets there to where it's not like one of those players is going to have 180 yards, or at least I don't think. It is just a 1-game sample. Who really knows? But when it comes to the MVP, I would predict right now it'll probably be Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I am picking San Francisco to win, so I would say he's most likely to win MVP, even over Purdy, if that were to happen. But that is going to do it for my Super Bowl preview. I guess I would take the over at around, 47.5, but I will warn people, looks like a lot of the sharps are in on the under, but I am taking San Francisco to win this game 26-23. Either way, that's going to do it. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.